ICC Cricket World Cup T20 is starting soon. The biggest game, the one that everyone looks out for, India versus Pakistan. Sunday the 15th of February. But oh, what's happened here? Someone's cancelled. Why? Let's discuss. Welcome back to Two Halves, Two Innings Cricket Podcast. This episode is sponsored by Synaptech. Please, guys, do like, subscribe, and drop your comments in. So, boys, our mouth has been watering. We've been licking our lips against, ready for the biggest game in world sport, not even cricket, I would say world sport, India versus Pakistan, which is due to be hosted in Colombo, Sri Lanka, on the 15th of February. But we just heard today that the Pakistan government have decided to pull Pakistan from this game. Thoughts?
I'm thinking what's happening with the cricket. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm thinking if they're boycotting that match, what will happen if they reach the knockouts and then or semi-final against India or the final against India? What will happen then? Would they boycott it then? Or would they say, no, this only matters in the group games. Now we are happy to play because it's a final. If remember when India didn't shake their hands during Asia Cup, right? They said, okay, we're not going to shake your hand. That's fine. I always believe that if India didn't want to shake their hands, they wouldn't have played the game either. But on the field, you should take politics out on the field for now, right? If Pakistan said, the team said, oh, we don't want to include politics in there, they need to show it then. I do not agree with this boycotting India's match then. That's my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, not to get too political into it, I mean, Pakistan are kind of showing their hand here now, and I think firstly they sided with Bangladesh in terms of when they were voting regarding Bangladesh's exclusion or moving their games away from India. And obviously Bangladesh lost that appeal, and they basically were replaced by Scotland. Now, if Pakistan were going to show true support to their Bangladeshi brothers, they would have also boycotted and joined them. So this is kind of an interesting move. So it's kind of like the Pakistan PM has said, well, we don't want to kind of, not support Bangladesh and what we kind of sided with them, but then also we do want to play cricket, but then also then we don't want to play against India on that day, even though it's in Sri Lanka, so there's no security risk. So what is their rationale behind that?
They didn't give any reason. They did not give any reason
exactly,
at all.
No reason. Yeah. Even on Twitter, I think at the time, or they were putting it up on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of saying to me is they're just basically just acting like a bit of a childish behavior in the way. They're kind of like spitting the dummy out and saying, actually, well, we're a bit annoyed that India didn't shake our hands. India were, they had preferential treatment because they took their games to Dubai. So Pakistan are going to try and be childish and do one over them and say, look, okay, fine, we'll just boycott one game. But actually, it's going to not be in their favor anyway. So they could actually risk not making it into the knockout phases because they're already, effectively played a game and lost by forfeit. So it's a very, very strange decision. I thought they would probably have maybe just grown up a bit and been a bigger, kind of not even say be the bigger person, but just say, we'll just carry on and play the game and take the politics out of the sport. But again, I think this is just going to set a bad precedent when it comes to any future ICC tournaments, where there's just going to be a problem between an India and Pakistan fixture, where they're ending up just boycotting or not playing or moving it to a different venue. So it's very, very silly and unfortunate, let's just say.
I mean, again, I'm going to say something controversial here. Unfortunately, Pakistan they've got a very small mind mentality, unfortunately. I mean, I agree with Bangladesh. If I was a part of Bangladesh setup, I agree that, they are right to be frustrated by not having the ability to play, all their games in Sri Lanka, because obviously that has happened for India in the past because of security fears. So I understand, if it's got to be fair, regardless of kind of whatever the political kind of reason for that is. So that's got to be fair. So I agree with that. But what I personally find bemusing is that Pakistan weren't scheduled to play India in India. Pakistan was scheduled to play India in Colombo. So as you said, Ajay, where's what's the thought process behind that? And secondly, if they really were to support their Bangladesh brothers and sisters, well, brothers in this case, sorry, then they should be boycotting or walking out of the tournament as well. You know, this move is actually going to dent Pakistan more than it's going to dent India, because with all due respect, historically, India, you know, this is going to be just, you know, they've got the 2 points without even having to, you know, shed any sweat. So, you know, all the advertise,
Maybe,
all the television revenue, all the sponsors and everything. And Rohit, you mentioned at the start about let's see if they do this. So this is where you test people's values, don't you? You know, are their values true, or is it just something they're just saying for the sake of it? So the true test will be if somehow Pakistan qualify, and if they end up playing India in the knockout stages, what their decision will be then. Would
Yeah,
they be willing to sacrifice a potential ICC trophy because of their values? That's when
yeah.
you test
I
it.
mean, if I'm a fan, right, Pakistan fan, I would love to beat India and win the World Cup, right? That will be the true statement.
Yeah.
That will be the true answer if they want to think that way, right? If I'm the fan. But this is what I'm saying, you know, if India played all their matches in Dubai, but that wasn't only ICC's or there was probably a recommendation, but then PCB said yes to it. They would have said no then. If they did not want India to play in Dubai all their games, they would have said no then. It wasn't only ICC's decision; it was PCB decision as well because they were the hosts. They would have said no. We want India to play in Lahore all the games. So,
But then they would have lost the television rights. It's money.
no, but we don't know, isn't it?
It's
What's
huge
happening?
revenue.
Yeah.
It's
Huge
money.
revenue for a small
It's
board.
money.
Like,
If India weren't allowed to play in the Champions Trophy, okay, all that television revenue, you know, that regardless whether you like it or not, okay, India is the powerhouse of world cricket. Full stop. Period.
Like
India,
England, Australia were before.
BCCI is huge.
India brings the most revenue to the ICC, whether you like it or not. That's a fact. Okay, so therefore, we mentioned before about, you know, when you're a big player, unfortunately, it depends on what side of the fence you're on. You have that power. We see it with Donald Trump in America, you know, Keir Starmer in England, China, etc., Russia, Putin, etc. Okay, you know, all forms of life. I'm talking about politics there, but all forms of life. That's just unfortunately the nature of the beast. Whether you agree with it or not, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
And what I'll just say quickly, just want to add, because that does not happen in cricket. I mean, if you look at like in FIFA as well, I mean, not to say like the BCCI that there's any corruption, but obviously in FIFA there was obviously mentions about how there have been favoritisms and dealings, and obviously with the likes of the Qatar bid for the World Cup. So money talks, power talks, you know. So this is a big thing when it comes to world sports. But the question obviously is why boycott something like you said, Amit, where the venue is in a neutral part anyway. It's in Sri Lanka. So again, the rationale and the logic behind it doesn't really make sense.
We don't know. Yeah.
And again, it just kind of smells a little bit fishy. It smells a bit kind of childish as well. They probably saw the run there on the Netflix and maybe got a bit scared. And you know, so it's
brilliant film, by the way.
Fantastic film.
I mean, there is no confirmation from PCB yet, right? It's only on the Pakistan government Twitter handle.
Yeah, exactly.
But they call the shots though.
No, I know, but then
you can't
ICC said they're waiting. No, ICC said they're waiting for PCB's statement. That's what ICC said. They haven't, because it's not until PCB says to ICC, that means there's no confirmation. ICC at the moment, the match is still on until PCB say, okay, guys, we're not going to play to ICC directly. But let's see what ICC do now. And but I mean, on your point of Bangladesh, okay, that's fine if they want to play in Sri Lanka, but the context is different, right? India haven't played in Pakistan. There have been, obviously, between two countries, there have been so much going on. So obviously that you know, the context is totally different. Bangladesh said, okay, because Mustafir said they I think BCCI told KKR to take Mustafir out of the IPL. IPL is a local league. ICC is a world tournament, totally different context. And recently we had 2023 World Cup, and every team played in that. There was no neutral venue. Pakistan came here, Bangladesh came here, right? And
they
then
were safe.
Yeah, safe, touch wood, and then there was so much like respect, so much like guest treatment was given. I'm sure when India goes to Pakistan, they're going to do the same. Like when we went last time, when was it, 2003, 4? And there was brilliant atmosphere, brilliant guests serving, and then, you know, I know that, but at the moment it's totally different. I think we should still think that if it's like you guys said, it's a neutral venue, they should definitely play, and I think they will play because I haven't
Ma-
seen PCB confirmation yet, but let's see.
I think they definitely they would play. I mean, if anything, I mean the Sri Lankans are going to lose out because obviously the revenue from the stadium in terms of tickets,
stadium,
if they lose, if they have to refund the
Yeah.
tickets, and like you said with the television rights, the broadcasting rights, I mean that match is going to be seen by millions and millions of people.
Yeah. Not even millions.
Billions.
Not even millions.
Billions.
Billions.
Probably billions, yeah.
Billions. Yeah.
And
billions.
and then this thing is the question is going to be then is what happens to future ICC events? If unless they're going to be
It puts
played in
question mark.
Australia, West
Yeah.
Indies, South Africa, England,
Yeah.
that's fine. But
Yeah.
what's going to happen when it's going to be the Asia teams and hosting it? If Bangladesh hosts the World Cup, then what? Will India kind of pull out of that then as well, or what would Pakistan do? And these are things. So it's just like I said, sets a really really bad precedent. And I'm all for one to say sports and politics should be taken separately. There are going to be some sentiments, obviously, of the local population that might feel a certain way, and there might be political parties because in these kind of in India and Pakistan, particularly in Bangladesh, political parties do hold a lot of sway in regards to things like sports and other type of events. So I can understand from Pakistan's point of view that they're wanting to maybe ruffle a few feathers and ruin the tournament's image for India and Sri Lanka by doing this type of stunt, but I just don't feel like it'll work for them. I don't feel like it's not showing them in any glory, in any high moral. It's not a moral victory. I don't know what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, I think there may be a little bit of bitterness in that, though, Ajay. I mean, you made a very valid point there. Just while you're saying that, obviously the Champions Trophy, it was a Pakistan Champions Trophy. As the Champions Trophy was held in Pakistan, India played all their games in Dubai. India went on to the final, so therefore the final had to be played in Dubai, and India went on to win it. So if you look at that tournament, all the things that could have rubbed salt into the wounds for Pakistan,
but it would have been the same now as well. If Pakistan would have reached final, the final would have been in Colombo anyway. It's the same setup. It's the same same setup. Now
sometimes they have a bit of a childish mentality. Unfortunately,
this is why I don't understand to pull out of the game. But anyway, this is what it is.
Well,
let's see what happens.
I mean, what does this mean for Pakistan? So in theory, I assume they're going to be -2. Well, they were down to 2 games, so 0 points.
Yeah.
India have got into tournament with 2 points, and then so remind me who else is in India's group? USA? No, not USA. USA.
USA.
Gambia.
Gambia, yeah.
But
who's the other one?
guys, I want to say, in Pakistan played under 19, played the India under 19 today.
Yeah,
they would have said no then. Why did we play there?
Where was that?
It was in under 19 World Cup.
It's
No,
in Zimbabwe,
in India.
though, isn't it?
In Zimbabwe, yeah.
Oh, in Zimbabwe.
Neutral venue,
Yeah.
and then they
Same thing.
wouldn't have played either. Then why they allowed under 19 to play the India team today?
All right then, boys. I think we've covered this one. So let's see what happens. But I mean, the tournament's supposed to start next weekend. So let's see if Pakistan decide to change their mind, or who calls the shots. Money, ICC, PCB. I'm not hopeful, but anyway, let's look forward to a great tournament anyway, and hopefully, more importantly, a tournament where India retain their title on home soil.
Let's see.
Never been done before.
Mm.
As I said, history's there to be broken.